So there is power in your testimony. Okay? And there are 3 elements of witnessing your testimony to others. So when it comes to testifying to your testimony, it has to be first intentional. Amen. You have to step out on faith and use the very mouthpiece that the Lord is giving you. He's giving you all beautiful voices. He's all giving you a multitude of platforms and doors that he's opened for you just to announce and be intentional with your testimony. So in our prayers, are we asking God, Lord, lead me to testify to your goodness and to your glory and where you brought me from to somebody. Please, Lord, send somebody my way so I can testify to how good you are. Okay, so it must be intentional. Second, it must be incarnational, meaning the example of your life being lived out before a lost world. It must be reciprocal. You can't testify to something that you ain't living yourself.
Amen. Amen.
Oops.
Amen.
Oops.
There it is.
Oops. Oops. You can't be telling people to not use the potty mouth and you using the potty mouth yourself. First, you got to take the sawdust out of your own eye before you call somebody else's sawdust out. Amen. Okay? We can't be hypocritical. There's no such thing as a double standard Christian, a hypocritical Christian. No. Either one or the other. You're either a hypocrite or you holy. Okay? So we gotta live out the example in a lost world. And that example is gonna lead others to the faith. They're gonna want to see your joy. They're gonna want to see, where your spirit comes from. Why you're so you're smiling all the time. You just have that presence, that aurora about you that is contagious. And which brings me to my third point. It must be infectious. Your testimony must be infectious. There must be an infectious, a passionate joy evident to those you witness to. Okay, you can't. God is good. He's amazing. I don't know what I would do without him. I mean, there's got to be some kind of excitement about what God has done in your life. How are you going to get others excited about your testimony? You're not excited about your own testimony. That's right. I mean, come on, think about it. I'm trying to make disciples, but I'm boring in how I make disciples. Can you imagine the pastor out here? I'm trying to preach the greatest news of all time. And I'm so excited about the good news, but there's no inflection in my voice. You got to be infectious about it. It's got to be contagious. Yes. You got to be excited about it. That's the problem with many Christians today. They're not excited about their testimony. They're not excited to speak about the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross for our sins. We're not excited about it. It is the greatest news the world has ever heard. The gospel of Jesus Christ is the GOAT. It is the GOAT. It is the GOAT of GOATs. It is the greatest of all time. Yes. Yes. Hey, look, I'm going to talk about how we can use the culture, okay, to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. I know you like that. The GOAT is just peeking out there like. But the gospel is the GOAT. It is the GOAT. Look, we talk about the GOAT all the time. I know I got some sports enthusiasts in here. We talk about Michael Jordan being the GOAT. We talk about Muhammad Ali being the GOAT. Today we talk about Steph Curry being the best three-point shooter. In due time, Dak Prescott, who just signed a $166 million contract. I'm just saying, he may become one of the greatest of all time. But look, think about this. None of them died on the cross and resurrected and left the tomb empty. So Jesus took it to a whole nother level. A level that can never be duplicated by anybody else ever. Amen. The gospel is the greatest news. It is the GOAT of GOATs. It don't get any better in our life and in our world and in all of human history than the gospel of Jesus Christ. It is the greatest news. And yet we're not even infectious about sharing it. As disciples, you have to be excited about this news. We rarely preaching the resurrection from the pulpit anymore. Without the resurrection, our faith is in vain. Amen. So if we're not excited about what Jesus did, how can we go and make disciples and exercise the Great Commission and proclaim it and publish it and testify to it and announce it? If we're not excited to share our own testimony, to share the greatest news the world has ever heard. Jesus is alive. He's alive, saints.